Okay, so for our learning objectives, number one, how do consumer characteristics influence buying behavior? Number two, what major physiological process influence consumer responses to the marketing program? Number three, how do consumers make purchasing decisions? And number four, in what ways do consumers stray from a deliberative, rational decision process? What influences consumer behavior? So, consumer behavior is the study of how individuals, groups, and organizations select, buy, use, and dispose of goods, services, ideas, or experiences to satisfy their needs and wants. So, it is influenced by cultural, social, and personal factors. So when we say cultural factor, we have three, which is culture, subcultures, and social classes. Next, we have social factors, in which we have reference groups, cliques, family, and role and status. So next, we have reference groups. So we have membership groups wherein primary versus secondary, aspirational groups, dissociative groups, and lastly, opinion leaders.
Family. Family of orientation versus the family of procreation. The family has a powerful influence on consumer behavior. The family of orientation refers to the family a person is born into, such as parents and siblings, who shape early habits and preferences. For example, a child raised in a household that values specific brands or prioritizes saving money may adopt similar behaviors. On the other hand, the family of procreation refers to the family an individual forms as an adult, including a spouse and children. At this stage, purchasing decision shifts toward household necessities and children's product and financial planning. Understanding this influence allows businesses to develop more effective marketing strategies tailored to different family structures. What influence consumer behavior? This slide explains how personal factors influence consumer behavior. These factors vary from person to person and shape how individuals make decisions when purchasing. One is age or stage in life cycle. Consumer needs depending on age and life stage. For example, young adults may prioritize fashion and technology, while older individuals may focus more on health products and financial security. Occupation and economic circumstances. A person's jobs and financial status affect their spending habits. Higher income individuals may prefer luxury brands, while those with limited income focus on necessities and budget-friendly options. Personality and self-concept. People personalities and how they see themselves influence their brand and product choices. For instance, a confident and outgoing person may prefer trendy or high-end brands, while a practical person may choose functional and affordable options. Lifestyle and values. A person's lifestyles and hobbies and values impact their buying decisions. Someone who values sustainability may choose eco-friendly products, while a fitness person may invest in sportwear and health supplements. Marketers consider these personal factors to create targeted campaigns that appeal to different consumer groups based on their preferences and needs. Key psychological processes. This slide highlights the key psychological processes that influence consumer behavior. These processes shape how individuals interpret information, make decisions, and form preferences. One is motivation. A person's drive to fulfill needs and desires influences their purchasing behavior. For example, someone motivated by health may buy organic food, while others driven by status may prefer luxury brands. Number two is perception. Consumer interpret and make sense of information differently. Marketing messages, product packaging, and branding can influence how consumers perceive a product value and quality. Number three, learning. Past experience acquired knowledge shape consumer behavior. If a person has a positive experience with a brand, they are more likely to buy it again, whereas a negative experience may lead them to avoid it. 4 is emotions. Feelings and moods play a significant role in purchasing decisions. Emotional connections to a brand, such as happiness or excitement, can be influence consumer preferences and brand loyalty. Fifth is memory. Consumers recall past experiences, advertisement, and brand interaction when making choices. Strong brand recognition and positive memories can lead to repeat purchases and long-term customer relationships. Marketers use their psychological processes to design effective strategies that appeal to consumers' needs, perceptions, and emotions, ultimately influencing their buying decisions. Figure 6.1 Model of Consumer Behavior. The model of consumer behavior explains how consumers make purchasing decisions based on different factors. Marketing influence, such as a product offering, pricing, distribution, and a communication, advertising, and promotion, shape consumers' choices. Additionally, external factors like economic conditions, technology, politics, and culture also affect buying behavior. A consumer decision-making process is guided by psychological and personal characteristics. Psychological factors like motivation, perception, learning, and memory influence how people interpret marketing messages. Meanwhile, cultural, social, and personal traits shape their preferences and purchasing habits. The buying decision process follows several stages: recognizing a need, searching for information, evaluating alternatives, making a purchase, and post-purchase behavior, satisfaction or dissatisfaction. Finally, consumers decide on specific details such as the product, brand, where to buy it, how much to buy, where to buy, and payment method. Understanding this model helps marketers create strategies that effectively meet consumer needs and influence their purchasing decisions. Motivation. Motivation is a key psychological process that influences consumer behavior. It occurs when a need becomes strong enough to drive an individual to take action. For example, if a person feels hungry, that need transforms into motivation, prompting them to seek food. Similarity in the context of travel. Passengers may prioritize comfort and entertainment when choosing an airline. As shown in the image, their desire for a more enjoyable experience motivates them to select airlines that offer better seating and in-flight services. Ultimately, motivation plays a crucial role in shaping consumer decision as it pushes individuals to act based on their needs and desires.
So, in this slide, it explains different ideas about what drives people. So, first theory is the Freud's theory. They, it says that hidden feelings and desires affect how we act. And next theory is the Malus theory. Shows that people focus on their most important needs first, starting with food and safety before reaching personal growth. Lastly, last theory is the Herberg's theory. Says that some things like good pay stop people from being unhappy, but real motivation comes from things like feeling valued and enjoying work. So for the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, this slide shows Maslow's ideas that people have different levels of needs. The most basic needs are things like food and water. After that, people want safety, like a secure home and a job. Then they seek love and belonging, followed by self-esteem, which comes from respect and confidence. At the top, people try to be their to be their best selves, which is called actualization. If basic needs aren't met, it's hard to focus on bigger goals. So for the key process, the perception, the process by which we select organization and interpret information inputs to create a meaningful pictures of the world, which is how people understand and make sense of the things around them. Everyone sees the world differently based on their experience, thoughts, and beliefs. Um, this affects how people make decisions, react to situations, and understand others. Because perception is personal. Two people can look at the same thing but sees it in the different ways. So we have four types of perception. Firstly, the selective attention. Second, the selective distortion. Third, selective retention. And lastly, the subliminal perception. So this explains four ways people see and remember information. So the selective attention means people focuses on things that interest them and ignore the rest. Selective distortion happens when people change information to match what they already believe. So for the selective retention means people only remember things that support their opinions. And lastly, the subliminal perception is when messages affect affect the minds without a person realizing it. So this influence how we think and act every day. So we have key process learnings. We have three types of learnings. Firstly, the induced changes in our behavior arising from experience. Second, drive and cues. Third is generalization and discrimination. So this talks about how people learn from their experience. Learning happens when someone reacts to something and remember it for the future. People generalize when they apply what they learned to new situations. Discrimination is when they notice small differences and acts accordingly. Over time, learning helps shapes habits, choices, and how people respond to the world around them.
Emotions are a powerful force in branding. Every brand, whether they realize it or not, evokes emotions in their customers. Think about how certain brands make you feel: comfort, excitement, trust, or even nostalgia. These emotions influence buying decisions, shape customer loyalty, and ultimately define a brand's identity in the market. Memory also plays a crucial role in how consumers perceive and interact with brands. Our brains store information in both short term and long term memory, and brands that create a strong association are more likely to be remembered. The associative network memory model, consumers link brands to emotions, experiences, and key attributes like reliability, quality, or trustworthiness. This is why branding elements such as logos, colors, and slogans are so important. They reinforce memory encoding and make retrieval easier when a purchasing decision arises. By understanding how memory works, brands can position themselves effectively in the consumer's mind, ensuring they remain top of mind when it matters most. Every buying decision starts with a simple moment, recognizing a need. Maybe it's craving for something new, or maybe something essential is missing. Either way, that's where it begins. From there, the search starts. Consumers look for ads, reviews, maybe a friend's recommendation. They gather information, weighing the good and the bad. Then comes the tough part, comparing options. Which product is better? Which brand feels right? Price, quality, and reputation. What happens after matters just as much. If the experience is good, they come back. If it's bad, they don't, and they might even warn others. That's why businesses needs to understand this process. Every step is a chance to connect, to convince, and build trust with your consumers. Every purchase starts with a realization something is missing. This is called problem recognition. This is the first step in buying decision process. It can be triggered by the need for a new phone because the old one isn't working, or it can come from external stimuli, maybe an ad, a recommendation, or seeing someone else with a product that sparks your interest. People gather information from four main sources: personal sources, friends. This includes friends, family, and word of mouth recommendation. These are often the most trusted since they come from the people closest to you. Commercial sources, advertisements, websites, and salespeople. These come directly from brands, so they shape perceptions but may not always be fully trusted. Public sources, news articles, online reviews, and independent reports. These provide unbiased insights. Experiential sources, past experiences and first-hand interactions like testing a product or reading customer testimonials. At this stage, brands needs to be visible, credible, and engaging. The more accessible and trustworthy their information is, the better chance they have of being considered.
Okay. So in these slides, it illustrates the decision-making process when choosing a product by narrowing down options step by step. It starts with the total set, which include all possible brands in the market, such as Apple, Dell, HP, Toshiba, Compaq, and SEC. Then it moves to the awareness set, which consists of the brands the buyer actually knows. From there, the buyer creates a considerable set, which includes only the brand they are seriously thinking about. Next, the choose set, where the buyer narrows it down further to just a couple of final options like Apple and Dell in this case. Finally, the process ends with the decision where the buyer select one brand to purchase, presented by the question mark in this figure. This process shows how consumers filter through numerous options before making a final choice.
The image presents a section of a presentation on the buying decision process, especially focusing on the evaluation of alternatives using the expectance value model. It includes a table comparing different laptop computers based on various attributes such as memory capacity, graphics capability, size and weight, and price. Compensatory versus non-compensatory models. Compensatory models evaluate options by allowing attributes to balance each other out. Non-compensatory models do not allow trade-offs, specific criteria must be met. Heuristics. Conjunctive heuristics. Choices are made based on meeting a minimum threshold across multiple criteria. Lexicographic heuristic. The most important attribute is considered first, and options are evaluated based on the attribute alone. Elimination by aspects heuristics. Options are eliminated based on the lack of specific attributes, assessing them in order of importance. Purchase decision. Influenced by two main factors. Attitudes of others. This suggests that the impact social influence may have on a person's purchase decision. Unanticipated situational factors. These unforeseen events or circumstances that can affect the decision to purchase. Purchase intention comes before the purchase decision and is affected by the aforementioned factors. Evaluation of alternatives. The process of comparing different products or choice before finalizing the purchase intention. The chart suggests that a decision-making process influenced by both social factors and unexpected situational changes.
This slide presents the type of perceived risks that influence consumer behavior when making purchasing decisions. Number 1 is functional risk. Functional risk concerns whether the product will perform as expected. Second is physical risk, fear of physical harm or health issues from the product. Third is time risk, worry about wasting time if the product fails or requires replacement. Fourth is financial risk, concern about losing money if the product is not worth its cost. Fifth is psychological risk, anxiety about how the purchase might affect self-image or mental well-being. And last is the social risk, fear of social judgment and disapproval from others regarding the purchase. These risks impact how consumers evaluate products before making financial decisions. This slide explains the post-purchase behavior stage in buying decision process. Number 1. Post-purchase satisfaction. The consumer evaluates whether the product meets their expectation, influencing future purchases and brand loyalty. Second is post-purchase actions. If satisfied, they may recommend the product. If dissatisfied, they might return or leave negative reviews. And last is post-purchase uses and disposal. Consumers decide how to use, repurpose, or dispose of the product, impacting sustainability and brand perception. This slide illustrates customer product use and disposal, focusing on what consumers do with product after purchase. There are three main choices. Number one is keep it, continue using, store, or repurpose it. Number two is get rid of it temporarily, rent it or lend it. Number three is get rid of it permanently. This option includes selling, trading, giving away, throwing away, or recycling. This decision impacts sustainability, resale markets, and brand reputation. This slide discusses the moderating effects on consumer decision making, which influence how consumers choose products. Number 1. Low involvement consumer decision making. When consumers make a quick decision, routine purchases with minimal effort, and often for everyday items. Next is variety seeking buying behavior. When consumers switch brands or try new products, not due to dissatisfaction, but for novelty and change. These two factors affect brand loyalty and marketing strategies, as businesses must adapt to consumer habits and preferences.
Purchase decision. Influenced by two main factors. Attitudes of others. This suggests that the impact social influence may have on a person's purchase decision. Unanticipated situational factors. These unforeseen events or circumstances that can affect the decision to purchase. Purchase intention comes before the purchase decision and is affected by the aforementioned factors. Evaluation of alternatives. The process of comparing different products or choice before finalizing the purchase intention. The chart suggests that a decision-making process influenced by both social factors and unexpected situational changes.